5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Good evening. Look at me, pretty in pink. Welcome along. Wherever you are in the world, you are most welcome to join us. Talking about a victory today. But thanks for joining us. If you are watching live, join in the chat. And it is a bank holiday, and happy bank holiday to you. But if you have joined us, do join in the chat as well. Otherwise, we get all very, very lonely here. If you're watching on catch up, add your thoughts in below and your comments. And if you're listening via your favourite podcast platform, as I always say, thank you very much for lending us your ear. So, welcome along to the Betfred Five-a-Side League. How are we doing? Because I think at this rate, that's all the players we're going to have. We need to do it. As I said before, we need to bite the bullet this season. We may not have an Enzo-type season, but if he gets us back on track financially, then all good. I'd sooner be struggling this year and not go up, but still be in the championship because the EFL have looked kindly on what we're trying to do, rather than actually having a 20-odd point deduction, well, all right, maybe 12-point deduction and ending up in League One and having to rebuild from there. Look, he's with us. He's always with us. He's like Andy Murray's mum. He's always there watching. We'll bring him in, and we're going to be talking Charlton Athletic 0, Leicester City 1.
Hello, Matt Elliott here.
Hi, Alan Smith here.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here.
Be sure to watch
Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV
for all the latest Leicester City news and information.
You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels.
for the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Come on, you foxes!
I love that. Thanks to the guys for doing that. Mr. Crash Bandicoot, how the devil are you, sir?
I'm all one per fruit as good as everything, mate. I'm absolutely Coco and Crash for this stream, mate. I'm looking forward to it. It's nice to do a win after last week.
It is indeed. And I've got to say, and everybody wonders why I was calling him Crash Bandicoot, I actually was watching him do a live stream, and do get over. Just what's your channel again, mate?
So it's Awful Gamer 90s. It's the YouTube, and I stream it over on Twitch. I did start with restream last night, as Chris is correct, so it could stream it to YouTube. So if you go and subscribe to my YouTube channel, go in the link, click the link to my Twitch. If you prefer Twitch, follow me on that. I do live streams. I try and do one once a week, work and stream pending. And I'm going through the Crash Bandicoot trilogy series. And I'm going to go on to other games after that.
Just like to watch it. What's your channel called, mate?
Awful Gamer 90.
Awful Gamer 90. I can just say,
I had a different name, but it all links in because that's my Twitch name and it's my gamer tag on Xbox.
Well, can I just say, having watched you attempting Crash Bandicoot the other night, what an apt name!
So when I first made it, because my original my gamer tag for Xbox, for anyone who plays Xbox, is Awful Gamer 26. So guess what age I was when I made that, right? Of course, next year people might think I made it in the year 2026, which is scary.
Yeah.
But I made it, and someone said, "Why you called yourself that?" I said, "Because I'm a gamer, but I'm not that good." So Awful Gamer works for me.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Do get over there and check it out. Smash and grab I've put there. Was a bit, wasn't it? And I have to say, right at the start here, to say that Charlton, they're everybody's favourite to go down. Everybody had them in the bottom three. If they play like that against a lot of teams, they will be safe this season. And I think, and we said this a lot in previous seasons, they'd had their shooting boots on. I don't think we'd have come away with the 3 points.
Yeah, there was definitely a cause for that. And the thing is, Chris, I think the fans fell into a bit of a trap with this Charlton game because of the media predictions, because of the social media predicting the table, because only a psycho would try and do a predictions league for the actual table, because you've got no chance of finishing it off unless you're Manchester United and you predict them to finish in the relegation zone in the Premier League or something like that. But Charlton are actually a decent side. And Chris, compose yourself, get ready, because I'm about to quote some stats at you here. I know.
I've got some coming up and you cannot say a word to me.
Okay, well, do this with your ears then. Hopefully I don't run over your stats.
No, that's all right.
Charlton are very, very resolute. We were the first team to score from a shot inside the box, and that was only the third shot they'd faced inside their own box. And they hadn't lost at home since December, Chris.
It wasn't in their box though when we scored.
He cut inside the box. It was just inside. I think it was just inside. But either way, Chris, you're talking about a side who'd faced 27 shots before that game kicked off as well. So it's not like they only faced like 5 or 6. They faced 27 shots and they'd kept, 24 of them outside the box. So we weren't coming up against a bunch of fools. We'd come up against a team that knew exactly what they're going to do, Chris. And maybe later on the wall, the cracks will appear in that, and they'll concede a few more, and they'll have a few knock-on results. But for that game, I was actually reasonably impressed. I mean, I nearly took a nap in the first half, granted, but the rest of the game, I was actually quite impressed about how we dug in deep. And maybe until mid-September, when this squad settled down a bit, Chris, with all the transfers and another one today outgoing from Leicester, this may be how Leicester get their points for the next 4 or 5 games.
Well, we won the league winning 1-0, didn't we?
Well, yeah, there is that. There is that. So you never know, Chris. You never know.
I mean, look, you looked at Charlton and they'd come up via the playoffs, so that immediately that's like a negative against them. Hi, Ray, how you doing? And you say, because obviously playoff winners always seem to struggle, and they've got that less time to sort of play about in the transfer market. But they and again, I think from what people have said, they were probably lucky to win the playoff. But they were a very, very physical team. I mean, to say we had a lot of youngsters out, I mean, for example, Louis Page, that was a baptism of fire for him, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, and that's going to be the case for a few players this season. Lewis Page, Mongo's already had his baptism of fire. He probably had his over that 5-6 game period in the Premier League, so he was a little bit more at it than maybe Lewis Page was. You could see it again. But I did love, Chris, and again, I'm sorry if I'm stepping on your points. You're going to talk to later, so I'll keep it brief. I love the fact that Marty came straight out and praised the youth for facing that baptism of fire, if you will, and handling it as well as they did. And it was a good test. And I think, like I said, probably we're looking after this game, you're going to start to maybe see the squad. And I know we're going to touch on it later. Certain players that either did play or didn't play or weren't even in the squad suggest that Marty's kind of gone, right, okay, I know what I've got here talent-wise, but I also know that this amount of players aren't going anywhere. I need to get them on the pitch. I can't I can't milk a cow dry here because he's going to go next week or he's looking like going anyway, which, this is why Lewis Page played for that reason. And it was good to see, Chris. It will only make them better. I prefer performance than a team like that.
Yeah. Ray says that Charlton gaffer is a tool, isn't he? I presume he said something. I'm just trying to find out. I presume he said something, has he?
He was very, very sour in his...
Right.
He tried to hide it. You could see the kettle boiled and boiled, and then the lid blew off a little bit near the end of his thing. Because at first he was concentrating on how proud he was of his boys and his effort, and he was like, on another day we win that game. Leicester are a really good side. And it sounded like a manager that was annoyed that he'd lost, but was happy. And then he said something silly, and it was something along the lines of, Chris, we got beaten by a goal by a player who's going to be playing in the Premier League next week. Well, hold your fucking horses, mate. No, he's not. He's our player. We have no intention of selling him. He, by the looks of his Instagram, has no intention of leaving, and no fucker's going to say that, when 28 million is getting called an insult by Leicester as a bid from Sunderland. And he also said...
Look at his face there. Does that tell you? And I know, all right, things change, obviously, but does that look like the face of a player?
I'm going to dance like an unhappy player, Chris.
Yeah, exactly. Voulez-vous, as they say. But, yes, it could have been... in fairness, Ray, it could have been 5-1. We are not going to get away against Birmingham with what we got away with against Charlton this week, and we've got to accept that. I
don't know, Chris. Jakob wanted to be prime Petr Cech, didn't he? Maybe we will get away with it next week.
Possibly, but look, looking at form and squads and what have you, you would think that Birmingham are going to be the toughest test we've faced so far this season. Like I say, on any other day, any other team, I think Charlton do win that, but. We will go through stats later. I love a good stat. But the only stat that counts is the one that's on the screen there, and that is Charlton Athletic 0, Leicester City 1. And let's talk about it before we go any further. What a fucking brilliant goal.
Oh my word! And you know what? This is what you get with wingers of Fatu's caliber. And you've again taken to the fact that he's 20, he's young, he's still nowhere near the unfinished article, and we have seen glimpse after glimpse after glimpse of what he's capable of. I'm going to throw out a name, and don't ever get excited by the name. I'm not saying he's anywhere near this standard, but he does give you Eden Hazard vibes. He runs, he terrifies defence, he's not afraid to cut in, and fuck me, can he pick out a top corner. He's at the moment, Chris, he's probably gone from a 1 in 10 from when he first came to us to a 1 in 5. And what I mean by that is he'll cut in and have 5 opportunities, and 4 of them will be like the rugby ground behind the Leicester. We'll be going, look me, we've got a new ball. But one goes in, and it was unsavable, Chris. It's early contender for goal of the season, and rightly so, because it was right in the corner.
Yeah. Wayne says, sorry for being undiplomatic. Wayne, I've never known you be anything else. But Charlton were cheating big time. Look, my thoughts on Fatu, I don't think he's going to go anywhere. There's certain things we've got to sell. We know that. We've sold I know I've just given it the kiss of death, haven't I? We've sold McAteer, and you're not going to sell McAteer, I don't think, if you have any intention of selling Fatu. Because if you're going to sell one of them, you sell, and he needs really need the money, then you sell Fatu.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I think that looks towards the credit of maybe what we're potentially looking to do in the market. I know for the first time in a long time, Chris, maybe this entire window, we actually had a story on Sky about a winger we're interested in. And I don't think you and again, I don't know what side he plays on, so that may be as a backup, because we do need backup.
Is it the Feyenoord striker, the guy, is it?
Yeah, it's like the midfielder winger sort of guy.
He plays on the right and he's left-footed.
Yeah, so again, maybe he's looking for someone who's a bit versatile, can play a bit of both sides on that one, which would be handy. But yeah, Chris, if you're going to sell one and you're keeping the other, and you need the money, you're gonna talk someone around to pay 35 million for him, maybe 28 with add-ons, sort of thing, and you're going to get fatter with gone quick, which they did with Casey. Because they obviously went, do you want to go anywhere? No, boss, I'm happy here. Okay, Casey, sorry, mate. And he's gone, oh, okay, well. And that's the one thing I've liked this window. Never nice to see players go, and I love Casey and I wish him all the best at Ipswich.
Indeed, totally.
But it's been like that. It was link, deal, gone. And the same with Justin. I feel like maybe Marty turned around to Justin after his knock and went, give us one more game. Let me sort out something, and then you can go. I'm happy for you to go Leeds, but give me another week. And he's got, as soon as that match finished, he's gone. He's gone now already.
Let's be honest with you. I mean, we'll see Justin next season anyway if we don't go up, because Leeds will be coming straight back down.
Yeah.
No, again, we wish Justin all the best. And look, I've got to say, if you want to check anything out, by the way, every night, apart from a Thursday, when it's at a different time, but we have the 6 o'clock news show. And I'm saying it's at 6 o'clock. It's just called the news show, but we do it at 6 o'clock, except on a Thursday, which is 5. And we will we're looking at the daily news basically. And if you check out the one from earlier, we are talking transfer embargoes. We're talking James Justin, who actually it was confirmed that he was going just as we went live. We're talking about the gentleman Stanger, from Feyenoord? And we're also talking Bilal as well. So do check that out. That is on the top line, the most recent show's banner on Leicester Till I Die TV. Right. Look, I'm going to go back to this before we move on. I did, with this smash and grab, I don't care. 3 points is 3 points. And I have to say, fair play to Charlton. Did we deserve the 3 points? Probably, if we deserved at least one, I think. Did we deserve all 3? Possibly. What worries me, I think that's why I think it was a bit of a smash and a grab, and we'll look at that when we see the stats in a bit. My worry is we are becoming a team of two halves again.
Yeah, that was my worry. But the difference is in that, Chris, is what's this team going to do when that first half Leicester makes a breakthrough, and then that second half Leicester that seems to up the tempo and get further up the field, we tend to go 2 up front, goes and increases that lead and gets us, that's what we're waiting for. That's where Marty will go, this is what I'm looking for from this team. Because I think what you'll see in early doors as well, Chris, is he has 2 formations. He's got the 4-3-3, which we're very used to seeing. We have done for a while, for many years. In fact, we've seen the 4-3-3. But then he goes to like the 3-5-2 formation, which allows some of the midfielders to be a bit more free, the wingers to push on, because the defence move up a bit, and we play a high line at a risk, and it bit us in the arse against Preston. And that's a game, Chris, that shows you the love of the joy of football. We felt our second half performance, we deserved to come away with a point. We came away with none, so it balances it out. And I think maybe Friday might be the game after, that. But you'll see a half of football, Chris, where the slow, methodical breaking down football gets you a goal, maybe 2, and then the second half football, when they're least expecting it, clicks us up a gear, and bang, Leicester have won 3-0, and all of a sudden we're sat here going, what a genius. It just needs a bit more time, Chris, to settle.
I think as well, for me, Brad, I think It's the uncertainty with Marty. You know, he'll come in the morning and go, right, who's still here? And that's
Yeah.
no criticism. We know, like I said before, we have to bite the bullet this season. I don't believe we're going to go up. We have still got the points deduction coming in. We don't have a transfer embargo, which has been confirmed now. There's a lot of rumours over the weekend. The EFL have confirmed we do not have a transfer embargo or a registration embargo. But we know that there is this need. Just reset the club and get it back on a level playing field. And like Susan Whelan said, and this is what Steve said earlier in the earlier show, it's going to take a few years. And if this is the first year of that, that's always the worst one. The first year is always the worst one. Birmingham, we've still got the transfer window to come on Monday, 7:00. This time next week, we can breathe a sigh of relief at whoever's there. But then Marty will be able to look at it and go, great, this is who I've got to work with.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the pinnacle of what you want as a manager. You ideally want the window to shut as early as possible and get to a point. You also kind of get to a point where it starts to benefit you. I think if we get to Friday and someone like Fatu who hasn't had a biggish bid on him, you're going to turn down any bids anyway because you're not going to have time to replace them. So it does have its benefits. But again, I mean, we could do a show about when should the window shut, ideally. But you're right, Chris. It's all well and good having a plan A and a plan B and a first half and a second half plan, which he seems to have, which is great. But he's unfortunately been given a job that maybe, Chris, and we hinted at maybe Leicester doing this last season, even though they got promoted. He's having to deal with the clear out. Now, I know we had a bit of a clear out when we got relegated, but that was inevitable. We weren't going to keep hold of some of the superstars we had at the club. No matter how they performed for us, they performed at their other clubs to show that they're meant to be playing top half in the Premier League. But last year we were saying, Chris, weren't we? What if we just get rid of everybody, release them, try and sell them, whatever, and we just... What have we got to lose by playing Monga all season, playing Page in these all season? And we know there's a chance of confidence gets shot, and you obviously can't get absolutely everybody. You'd have to keep some of them. But like you said, Chris, this first year feels like the worst because all of a sudden everybody's going. But realistically, Chris, out of the players that have gone, Justin and Didi, maybe at most, we're kind of like a little bit sad to lose because of what they achieved with us and how good they were. Others, I look at a Madsen and think, thanks, West Ham. No, keep the receipt, no refund.
I popped into West Ham Unofficial with Jake earlier, and I put a little. I wasn't on the show, but I was in the chat, and I just put a little note saying, "How's it going with Hermanson? Thanks for the 20 million, guys."
Yeah, exactly.
Which is probably a bit unfair. They absolutely hate him, but they hate Potter. To be honest with you, they didn't like him last. He's only won 5 games since he came in. He's getting all the excuses now of, well, this is what I inherited. And in fairness, that is something you never heard Rude say. Rude never came out and said, I think maybe once, I believe, but I never heard him say, this is what I'm stuck with because this is the crap that was bought before. And when you look at the goalkeepers we've let go, Danny Ward has got Wrexham fans screaming like mad because he's so awful and not covering his near post. They don't want a Manson in the team for the next 2 games. They want Areola back. And we've got, like you say, probably primetime Peter Shilton at the moment. But I want to talk, let's get back onto the game anyway, because this was the lineup. And the biggest, well, was it a surprise? Noel Kanouse. I mean, I think that means he's probably is going.
Well, Marty kind of answered that in a way that suggests there's a stronger chance that he's going, but he probably did the right thing because another player that's missing from that start, which I'm going to give some credit to. I told him to sort his shit out and it looked like he was a better player, was also Winks. I know Winks was on the bench, but he wasn't in the starting 11. We obviously now know more why Justin wasn't in that team as well. But with Bilal, he came out and said, look, he's a young lad. his head's a little bit all over the place at the moment because Crystal Palace, things keep happening and then dropping off, and it's gone again. Where I'm going to say this now, Chris. We keep Bilal Khanous if Crystal Palace are stupid. We do keep him because they are not budging on how they want to pay it and how we want the money given. So that's something. But he's taken him out of the limelight, Chris, and I feel like sometimes that's the best way to handle it. He has, because he could have easily gone to Bilal and gone, sorry, mate, no deal yet, in you go. And then I'm going to take you, Chris, to Scotland here. Not literally, figuratively.
Please don't. It's wet, raining and miserable.
I know, but that's just somewhere in Scotland.
That's what I mean, yes, yeah.
Russell Martin, the name will send shivers down your spine because I was praying to God that I wouldn't follow Leicester this season if we signed him. And Rangers fans are now thinking the same with Rangers. But they have a player, and his name is, funny enough, his first name's Hamza. And he got interviewed about this because he was on the bench, right? This is vital. He'd had a bid put in for him. He seemingly trained okay. He seemingly came okay. And Russell Martin decided, I'm just going to put you on the bench, right? Now, he said he trained all right. I saw a picture of him kicking the ball in the walk around, and his head was like this, and he was kind of like... telling me that his head's gone, he don't want to be here, he's set on this move, and if he wants to focus on that. 60 minutes into the game, he turned round to Hamza, and I'm just going to call him that so it makes it easier, and he went, I want you to warm up, I want to put 2 strikers on. And do you know what this bloke said? I'm injured. You weren't, no, there's no ifs, ands, or buts, no. And Russell Martin tried to mask it, which he absolutely clamped his job because like, oh, I don't know, I've got to trust him. No, mate, he wouldn't be playing, and you wouldn't put him on the bench if he was suddenly injured. What did he do? Break his kneecap sitting on his arse? What did he do? Rupture his anal gland sitting down too hard on the bench? No, I don't want that. And I feel like El Khanous would have been sat on the bench just going, could be talking through a deal with Palace right about now. I want to move.
His head has definitely been turned. Yeah. And this is what Sasha Tavrioli, who's a renowned journalist, said. Bilal El Khanous' transfer is currently on hold. The situation is tense between Palace and Leicester, which is complicating negotiations that were already at an advanced stage. El Khanous has made his intention clear. He wants to leave Leicester City. So if he wants to leave, then go back. The good news is, if it's broken down with Palace, of course, Tottenham, who were hoping to get Eze, didn't. They may come in and offer better terms. My only worry with that is that it's Daniel Levy, and he is a bloody tough negotiator.
Yeah.
But anyway, he wasn't there. I think he's probably, that does mean he's probably going. Justin, well, obviously we know that's why he wasn't in as well. But look, there was the thing, 4-2-3-1. We had a plan B as well. We actually changed to a 3-5-2 in that second half. I nearly fell off my chair when I was commentating on it. I mean, what the hell, Marty? Don't do that to us. We're not ready for that.
I know, right? Substitutions that aren't like for like as well, Chris. We're actually doing it to change it. I know it's a bit easier when you change shape, but normally, Chris, what managers do is they keep that shape, and then what they do is they move one of them CDMs into the middle and move one of the other CDMs into that to make it like a 4-1-4-1 thing, and not really much changes. But to see the changes, and again, Chris, we've already seen a lot of players this season playing the team that if the window was to shut today, Chris, in terms of who we're keeping, I'd be very happy. I'd obviously not be happy that we haven't brought anyone in. But if you said window shut now, that's it. Good night, Vienna. That's it. You're left with these. I'd be very happy with what I've seen because a lot of them players, Page, Chowdhury being the ones that came in, and Coley at the back line, who we'll get into when the ratings come around. But all these players are getting chances and opportunities to feature almost in both halves as well, Chris. So they're understanding when they come on that they already know what the plan is. It's not, what we're doing there, manager. They're not sort of going, I think he said switch it to this. I don't know. I can't remember. Let me go and ask it. They seem to come on the pitch come on the pitch already knowing. It's not a case of, hold on, are we switching now? Or, no, we're not switching now. He hasn't said switch. They know, right, second half, I'm going there. You know, and it's good to see, Chris. It really is good because you need that in any division, let alone this one.
You do. 4-2-3-1 we went. They were 4-1-4-1. Interesting, when I saw one of their subs were coming on, he was holding his iPad like that. I'm thinking, well, is he playing Crash Bandicoot? But, I mean, he did look a little bit like he was reading it for a hell of a long time. I don't know what he was trying to take in. I want to
I said he was on Tinder, Chris, because I saw him swiping a few times.
Look, I want to look at two players, and I've picked out a player I want to talk about later. But I want to talk about these two first of all. And a lot of people have been in the chat have been saying sort of like, well, he's you know, they were fouling, they were doing this, they were offending, and you know they did actually. Well, they only had 2 yellow cards. We had 1. I thought the ref had a really decent game, to be honest with you. That's not just because we won. And Wayne said I spotted the tablet. I thought he had a pretty decent game. They were very. What's the word I'm looking for here? Physical. They were very physical. But when you're being told, well, hang on, guys, you know they've got 3 players under 25. They've got a 17-year-old as the attacking midfielder and a 16-year-old on the wing. I would tell my players, go out and rough them up a bit. How often did you hear, back in the day when football was football, you know, before it was all this Nancy stuff, you know, they'd say the defenders would go in and they would go studs down the back of the player's ankle because it said, like, I'm here, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't blame Charlton for that, to be honest with you. And obviously we saw Page go off, Munger go off, but yeah, I understand why they did that.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense, Chris. I mean, I even remember back in the O'Neill days, watching like a season review, and I think it was Graham Fenton had not long signed for Leicester. He'd been with the under-23s in the training ground, and they were talking about it, and they were saying, "Oh, we gave him a bit of a kick in the, we give him a bit of a kick around in there." In the last training session, and back then I thought they went, oh well, he played, the first team played under 21s and battered them off the, battered them scoreline wise, but it meant no, they were hitting them and they were pushing them over and giving them a shoulder ball. You've got to rough them up, and I'm sure that's happening to him on the field. They're learning the physicality. I mean, he might not move that quick, but Samare's build. Boy, howdy. I mean, you wouldn't like that giving you a shoulder tackle. It sends you past. It might actually beat Stelarczyk in goal if you shoulder tackle with someone.
Yeah.
But you can understand why they're doing it, Chris. Like you said, we've got a very, very youthful squad out there. Minus the old exceptional up front again.
Yeah, and Marty did come out and praise the youngsters, didn't he?
He did, and that's what you love to see. It's very rare. Normally a manager gets questioned about the youngsters because obviously he came off and he did lose the ball a bit in the first half, which gifted them a few early chances. He was very praising. Sometimes the manager's like, oh well, he's learning and he'll get there, and that's why we put him in the under 23s, but that's why he trains for the first team. And to me, that's bad because I feel like if you wash your hands of a youngster, Wayne, don't get any wrong ideas. I said wash your hands, not something else. Of a youngster when they come into the squad after a game or a 60-minute performance, they're never going to develop into a first-team player. Sometimes, Chris, and we said this about doing this with Monga last season. Yes, we want to see him playing. Yeah, obviously we tried to play him for obvious reasons to show him he's going to be part of our future. So Man U didn't get him for like £5 at a Freddo. Thankfully, obviously that isn't the case. But we was worried, we took him in the deep end. But this day and age, mate, I mean, they said it about one of their players, 23, it's not a youngster anymore. I know Mulder's 16 and Page is 17, but in 2 or 3 years' time, they're not going to be classed as youngsters anymore. They're going to be embedded, A player who we've just sold, James Justin, I thought he was 30. He's 27 still. So, I mean, we had him for 5 years and that, 5, 6 years or whatever it was. So these players, but back then he was lightning quick, and we chucked him in the Premier League. Christensen's another one. So they've got to go out there and perform. You can't just look at, I'm glad he supported him. I'm glad he backed him. He didn't seem to hint as if to go, oh, well, I tried. I gave him the opportunity. He'll go back to the under 23s and we'll look at him again in January, sort of thing. It sounds like he wants to praise him and give him that confidence to then go, look, I might not start you against Birmingham, but I trust you to go on if I ask you to and do a good job because I trust you. That's why you're in my plans. That's why you're on the team coach coming with the first team, and I'm not having you play whoever in the under 23s. So it's good signs, Chris. That's what you want to hear from your manager as a youngster.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to say this. Look, Louis Page came off, and I understand why. He was getting roughed up a little bit. Wayne, you might want to go and make a cup of tea at this next bit, because we're going to talk Monga. That is probably his most disappointing game for Leicester City. I am very much getting Damari Gray vibes here. And I was talking to a Birmingham fan yesterday, funnily enough, about the upcoming game and arranging somebody for you on Thursday. And my memories of Damari Gray were sat on the bench, bring him on, and he has a pretty decent... And don't get me wrong, I will love Damari Gray forever and a day for that goal he scored against Cardiff, and when he took his shirt off and everything. And I will love him forever for that. But his time wasn't well at Leicester. I mean, he's now gone back to Birmingham, as we know, so which means he'll score at the weekend. But my memories of him were sat on the bench, coming on, having a fairly decent game, if I'm honest with you, being picked to start. Starting, having absolutely awful game. So you drop him, bring him on as a sub, impact player. And I'm just worried that that's what we're going to see with Monga. But, like I said with Page, they were very physical. And both Fatawu and Monga had two players on them all the time.
Yeah, and that, first of all, shows you the admiration that the clown of a manager of theirs has for them. He obviously recognises them as a talent and is very aware. And we saw it against Preston, Chris, not just because he scored the goal, but throughout that entire second half when he did come on. If you let Fatawu get away from you, you might as well stop because you ain't catching him. And there was a few moments later on in that game, Chris, where he did get in behind him and he did manage to go. But there was a problem, and it kind of bears from the first half tactic because Fatawu, Mavididi and Monga have all suffered this in the first 45 minutes, Chris. And that is, with the slow build-up play, it allows the opposition to settle their defence. In the second half, when we're at them a bit more and we've got more bodies, they're not so structured. They've got one eye over the shoulder. They're having to kind of mark an area and not a player, which, like you said, they were doing in the first half term. So, again, it's something that all our wingers are suffering with. And even Casey, before he left as well, he was suffering with it. He wasn't given the freedom to run at teams because we were a bit slow in our build-up. And I agree, Chris, it wasn't his most glamorous game. But if that's going to be a 1 in 5, I'll take that. I'll take that because, Chris, near the end of that half, he had 3 players around him. I just think maybe that plan A needs a little tweak. Just a smidge of a tweak. And I'll bring it up more in the ratings, but a freer role for a certain Samare. I'm about to have a go at some people when it comes to Samare, by the way. Not necessarily on this channel or yourself, Chris, but some fans on Twitter giving it all that about Samare. Hate just for the sake of hating, but I'm fine with it, Chris. I'm fine. My point is, Chris,
I can tell you're hiding it well, mate.
You know what I mean? Maybe if we give him that number 8 role throughout the game and he gets forward a bit more, we create a bit of space for Monga to go into, because I think sometimes you can look at a performance and go, "Bloody hell, mate, you had enough opportunities and you never ran past your man." You can say it's all the player that had a bad game, I don't think Monga necessarily had a bad game, as in he was missing passes or he wasn't getting on in the balls, he wasn't making runs. He just had an isolated game where he wasn't able to be his free self.
He is still learning.
Yeah, like I said, if it's a 1 in 5, Chris, I'll take a 1 in 5.
Both Fatawu already should be used to having 2 players on him.
Yeah,
because it happens most games. Monga's going to have to learn that. And look, it was a one-off game. He had 2 very, very strong players bullying him, if you like, and he still got past them occasionally. So well done. But yeah, I'm just wondering whether his use as an impact sub might be better. I mean, obviously at the moment he's not at school because they're on school holidays. Are they still on school holidays in Leicester? I'm guessing
for another week. I think they go back the first week of September.
Right. So he's got another week when he can play 90 minutes. So it's not too bad. But I want to look at this. 5 substitutions made. Yes, Brendan. 5 substitution made on a very hot day. Yes, Brendan, on a very hot day. And as you said earlier, Brad, not like for like at all. We actually changed the system. Hallelujah, we have a plan B. Welcome to a proper manager.
Yeah, it was nice. And to a degree, there was some like for like, the top 2 there, for obvious reasons. And again, I think that's the reason we maybe had Justin around for an extra week or so anyway. But like you said, Chris, you see some of them changes made and it wasn't wholesale. It was just like a shift in momentum. And I felt we got a bit more out of it. There was one kind of hilarious thing that happened in the substitutes when I was watching it with Jess, is we saw Silko Thomas warming up. And I don't know if it's just because the day before there'd been posts that Koulibaly hadn't been held hostage at gunpoint in a basement, and he is actually still at Leicester somewhere around the ground. But there was a load of memes going around saying that he is alive. When we saw Silko Thomas stood on the sideline, we actually thought it was Koulibaly because we hadn't seen him that long. We thought, on unrecognizable base, it must be Koulibaly. But then it turned out to be Silko Thomas. But again, Chris, credit to the youth. Another player who has been linked with a loan move away, I feel like, I don't know how strong the rumours are, what truth there is, but there's a rumour that Leicester are willing to go out on loan, but also if someone wants to take him, sell him. But I think that's more down to the player if he doesn't want to be here. I feel like that was Marty's way of going, no, if you do go, just go on loan. Don't go permanently. I see something in you to use you, because you don't put him on in that critical moment with 15 minutes still to go. That was good to see. And like you said, Chris, it stretched the play a little bit, and we saw a decent end to the game, really, Chris, minus that chance they had in the last minute, really.
Yes. Which obviously was a foul. And again, fair play to the referee. He blew his whistle before the ball hit the back of the net, So, as I say, it's not often you can say good things about referees. But look, with Ricardo coming on, was all right. It was only 7 minutes. Let's hope we can maybe get more out of him. Now, obviously, we have lost Justin. So I'd sooner see Chow. Look, Skip, I know we paid 20 million for him. I know he's on £50,000 a week, but can you not just lose? I mean, we've lost Koulibaly. Can't we lose Skip with him? And why not? And I'm going to say this now, and I'll let you say your bit. I hope I'm not treading on your toes this time. I thought Samari was the better of the two, Skip and Samari.
Chris, by a country mile. By a country mile, he was better than Skip.
Yeah. So Skip, I've been Skip's probably biggest defender.
It's a shame because he can't defend, so you're doing all
probably was the wrong choice of words there. But do you know what I mean? I'm saying, and I wanted to see him and Winks try it together, and I never want to see that again. And yeah, well, look, can we not just put him somewhere?
Like take him to the vets and put him down,
Well,
maybe.
well, no, just leave him in London. Don't let him back on the team coach. I would like to see Chowdhury in his natural role, which is a defensive midfielder, because Samare is a little bit all right. He has good days and he has bad days. This is one of his better ones, but he is built like a brick shit house. Hamza, as we know, doesn't take prisoners. Doesn't take penalties probably either, but he gives them away. And I'll tell you something, Hamza fights for that shirt.
Yeah,
and
he does.
He said the other week, he whether he was fouled or fell over, but he got up and he was running back past some of the opposition strikers to get back to help his defence out. So why, look, obviously something's wrong with Koulibaly. Whether he's not settled, whether he's struggling because there's no other French-speaking player, although he's got Samare, I guess. Maybe they just don't get on. But I wasn't sorry. I have to just sort of say, the other day I took the piss out of our club for having Bilal Al Khanous as a Moroccan, as a Belgian when he's Moroccan. He's actually dual nationality.
Yeah, but still, come on, he's a Moroccan international. That's
what that is. But I just want to sort of, cover myself just in case the lawyers are listening. If Winks doesn't go, and I think he will, and we need to because he's on 90 grand a week. But if for any reason he doesn't, he has to be a starter. And I'll tell you something: if he stays, and as good as tomorrow is, Winks and Chowdhury in that two central defensive midfielder roles, I don't like, but it's what all the managers do these days. I'd be very happy with if Ricardo's fit enough to play right back.
Yeah, that's the big question. It's a big if over Ricardo because we know a strong gust of wind has him out for 4 months.
Yes.
But I agree with you, Chris.
Just keep him away from the curry houses then.
I know, right?
Otherwise, he'll need old John Rudkin with the old bit.
No, they might pull a groin doing that. And I don't know what's happened with Braybook, but he doesn't seem to be in and around the team at the moment. I don't know if he's gone out on loan, if he's been told, look, you need to get another year in the development. But one name that has been in and around the team is Alves. Now, if you've got a midfield 4, and let's just forget Skip here, you've got Samare. You've got Samare, Chowdhury, Alves, and Winks. You've got 4 very capable players to put on and in that position. And I know where Alves is a more attacking-minded thing. We'll get to that though, Chris, because you look at everybody's scapegoat, Samare. Who drove forward the ball and got the assist for the goal, Chris? I believe
that was a really good ball. I'm not going to deny it. Yeah.
If we can do that with like putting Alves on for him, or four capable, Wayne. Just because your love child Monger isn't a midfielder doesn't mean you can't just scout him again. Wayne, you're just hate for hate on Samare because he's actually a decent player when his head's in the game, and I can't wait for the ratings when I give you his stats.
I'm not getting involved in this. You two carry on. I'm just going to sit here and read a book.
I'll move on, Chris. I'm saving it.
Do carry on, though.
No. I was just saying,
Right.
Sorry, I had a message threw me off a bit there. I think we've got a very good structural midfield, and even if Winks was to go and that meant one of the other youngsters had to step up and play in that position, I still think we'd be okay because we have got players of a good caliber in that role, Chris. So, I don't know what's going on with Koulibaly. You'd imagine Hamza would have to pull double shift, being back up to Ricardo or start or coming on for a Winks or Samara in that midfield. Yeah. Problem is, Chris, you can only, he's only coming on for one or the other. He's either going to be your Marshall that goes forward and drives forward with the ball, or he's sitting back and defending. And you know what I mean? So you're either going to have Samara and Hamza, or you're going to have Winks and Samara, in my opinion, going forward.
Yeah. let's just have a look. You caught me out then because I'm trying to double. We'll think. Let's talk some of the other defenders. Winks Winks looks sorry, substitutes. Winks looks like he's going. Silko Thomas, I have to say, didn't really see a lot of difference between him and Monga, but it gave him 73, 20 minutes to play. The two at the bottom I want to talk about, Daka. I don't know what to make of Daka. He tries in the way that Akinbaye tries, but he's a striker and you want him to score goals, don't you?
You do, Chris, but what he does do at the moment, and I feel like maybe Marty's saying, don't worry about the goals just yet. I know you're a striker, but the goals will come. Right now, what I want you to do is use your pace the way you do it. He's not got Vardy in his line right anymore. He is still unfortunately behind Ayew, but that seems to be a tactical thing again, because Ayew goes from lone striker to false nine, if you will, hold the ball up and let him run onto it. Daka runs into open spaces. Now, 7 times, maybe 8 times out of 10, it's not to get the ball. But what he does is he draws 2 centre-backs or he draws in a centre-back and a wide player in with him because he's going into a dangerous open area, and that allows him to free up people. And I feel like Marty's just saying, look, get into dangerous areas. The ball might come to you in space. I do agree with you a little bit. I think he's got the same scoring prowess as maybe a first season Akinbaye. I don't think he's as terrible as second season Akinbaye, but he's getting close to it, isn't he? So he's in between. But my point is, Chris, I feel like he's just saying, right, I want to get you running in behind, using your pace to open up the field. And if you get the ball early, you'll get it in space and a chance to have a go yourself. And eventually, Chris, because I say eventually in hope, eventually, Chris, you feel like he makes some runs, the ball's going to drop to him and he's going to put one in an empty net. And then he maybe puts another one in an empty net. And then the next game, he gets another one and he gets the ball over the top and he bends it in past the keeper. You know what I mean? Maybe that's what Marty's doing, what other managers refuse to do. Because this is the first manager that goes, you're not my first choice, but you are technically my main striker for the second half. You know what I mean? It's hard to explain how it probably is to Daka, but he's not the starting main attraction, but he's not it's not a case of we've got no one else to put on, just run and pretend you're Jamie Vardy. He's actually been given different instructions under Marty. Run at the defence, get him behind, stretch them, and you either get the ball, and if not, you creating space. You're doing positive things for us. And I think that's why people are starting to kind of look at Daka and thinking, actually, he's not actually that bad. He's creating spaces. He's laying the ball off. He's doing good things with the ball when he's on it. And I think that's that little rebuild of confidence, Chris. You can't force someone into a goal-scoring form. You've got to slowly build that confidence going, especially with how torrid his time's been. And let's see, Chris. Maybe in 6 weeks we'll be cursing him again, but for now, let's just see.
Yes. About Faze, looks like he's going. Solskjaer's team is on a plane and flying over, apparently.
Yeah, and I will personally actually kind of missed him just because I loved his characteristics. He was daft as a brush. He'd make you pull your hair out, but sometimes he'd play like prime Roberto Carlos. But he's one of them players that, again, if you said to me, out of your centre-backs that you've got at the squad, you need to keep... First of all, I'm going to rule Vestergaard out of this conversation because you need an older, experienced head. Out of the ones you've got left, who you can only sell one, who is it? I'm going to say it now, Chris, and it may hint at how high his rating is going to be. Keep a Coley at all costs. Lock him away in the basement with Fatu until Tuesday or whenever it's you have to.
Yeah.
Wayne, don't get excited about them being in the basement, right? And give them Faze. Especially if it's for 7 or 8 million, Chris. I know we paid a bit for him, but stop value over the seasons. Get him gone. I love him. He'll always have a wild phase moment for me going forward. But yeah, just if that is the case, Chris, again, I'm not too worried. Akoli, Vestergaard, Ben Nelson, it's a good trio to have. And we know, I thought I caught that midair. As we know, Chris, we have got other capable players that not only play in that position, but can play in that position if they need to. The concern would be we maybe need one more extra body for that second half tactic to work where we go into a back three.
Yes, yeah. Right, let me just upload this a second. There we go, and I can delete that one. Pashan says, Chris, would you keep the wig if FaZe is gone? I've said this before. If FaZe goes, I'm keeping the wig. I am dyeing it black, and I'm going to come on as Hamza Chowdhury. So
that's brilliant. I love that.
So yeah, waste not, want not. Waste not, want not. Chris will be gutted. But I'm going to say this. At the moment, the way that the players are going, we can only judge them on the games they've played so far. And like I say, poor Marty must be pulling his hairs out. He doesn't know who's going to be here, who's not going to be here. So he's having to make the best of a bad deal. It's only sort of after the Birmingham game, and then we've got the international break, of course. Whoopee! But he'll be able to look at it and go like, right, these are the players I've got to play with. As things stand at the moment, I would keep FaZe over Vestergaard, possibly. If one of them had to go, I'd want to keep FaZe because at least he can run. But no, it looks like he's going to be going.
The trouble is, Chris, you need someone who's going to be able to sit a little deeper to give that midfield that high line. And Ben Nelson and Coley have that pace to drive forward with the ball. Whereas, like you said, yes, Vestergaard is slower. But if we have all-out ball-playing centre-backs, we're going to get, we already saw how Marty maybe looked at it and went, okay, I can't ask Vestergaard to do that role. When we played the high line against Preston in that second half, you need somebody who's going to be able to be a bit deeper, read the danger earlier, and react to a ball over our back line while we press up high. So that's why I would say FaZe gets the nod, if you will, to be sold over.
Unfortunately, like I say, it does look like FaZe is on his way out. He's going to be phased out, I guess you could say that.
Well, there you go.
Dorco says, I used to love Lenny Glover. I love anybody's mentioning that guy's name because I can always say my story that I used to be Lenny Glover's neighbour. I used to live opposite Lenny Glover, and he had a red setter dog, and I used to take it for walks. Some of us have these famous links, and some of us don't. There we go. Just thought I'd throw that one in. Right. Look, it's going to be stats time, Brad. Don't go.
Oh, okay. Just sorting out the camera, mate. Sorry, while you do it.
Right. No, stay. Right. So these are the stats. Now, normally, I would be a little bit peed off. I'm not going to lie, because we were outplayed. 1-0, yes, but we won the Premier League with 1-0. Thank you, Wayne. I think it's rather cool. We had the most possession, which doesn't mean a Scooby-Doo. But how can you win the game when your XG, Brad, is only 0.5 and theirs was 1.5?
Because you put one into top corner and they didn't put one into goal. That's how we win football, mate, because that's how it happens. How about what DX points did we get? Let's do, if you're going to throw out random letters and put them together, let's talk WWE, DX.
Oh no, don't talk WWE. I'll fall asleep. No, in fairness, I mean, look, they had 20 shots to our 6, 7 on target to our 2. You know me, Brad. Normally, if we'd have lost this game, I would have been going absolutely bloody mad at that.
Oh, yeah, you would. You'd have found a way to go to go mad at it. But again, Chris, you know, you want to take stats on the forefront. You look at that first one and go, oh my gosh, not the possession one, the shots. Oh my gosh, Charlton battered them. They've been absolutely robbed. Blah blah blah. They've been fleeced. They, you know, call for a robbery because Leicester have stolen it.
Mm.
Do you know what the most interesting Chris's stat is there, Chris?
Go on.
They had how many shots? 20
shots.
20 shots to 7.
No, they had 20 shots with 7 on target.
Yeah, 7 on target.
2 on target, yeah.
So we had the same percentage of shots on target as we did to shots?
We had, oh, you're asking me to get my calculator out now, aren't you?
I mean, 7 shots on target out of 20, and it's about 35%, isn't it? It's got to be about 35%, whereas we've had a good quarter, it's about 35%.
Ours was 33 and a third. Theirs was 35, yeah. So it actually balanced out, yeah.
So realistically, good chances, as in chances you're saying we're going to threaten towards going in the back of the net and actually leading towards a goal. Yes, it's 7 versus 2, but realistically, we had the same percentage chance of getting one of them in the net as they did. We just took a screamer and
the only thing that worries me, and it does worry me here, is when we come up against a Birmingham, a Stoke, Ipswich possibly, then that's gonna. That could be the stat that kills us.
It could, but also, Chris, if it's a Birmingham or an Ipswich or a Stoke or you know what, let's use the biggest example going right now in the Championship, and it's going to make me sick to say it, but a free scoring Coventry City, does that not benefit us? Is that not the sort of thing we want as a Leicester team? A team that's going to commit bodies forward, leave gaps in behind, and Leicester go bing bang bang bush in behind. That's the exact noise the ball makes, by the way. Bing bang boom boom boosh. It's the exact noise. It's not a Crash Bandicoot noise. But
I thought that was your Eurovision entry this year.
Yeah, but will that actually not play into Leicester's hands? You look at the 3 games we played this season so far. Well, 4 if you include the cup, but that wasn't the same as these 3 games in terms of how they went about it, Chris. You look at how them teams went at it for the majority of the game, Chris, and yes, they had moments of press, did Preston and Charlton, but sorry, I'm going back in the show when you mentioned Danny Ward, and I just remembered I got a point, but I lost out on a point. It was all worth it to see Sheffield Wednesday come back from 2-0 down. But my point is, Chris, if they come at us and leave, push them midfield up, we nick the ball off them, and Samare Bullies are playing off the ball or something, that might benefit Leicester. That might be a game where Leicester go and score a couple of goals in the first half, and then Birmingham chasing the game, go and concede a few more, and we're sat here going, well, hey, what a win for Leicester.
And we are. I said this in the match, and I say this virtually every watch along. Is if you remember Liverpool pre-Alex Ferguson at Manchester United years, they used to really they number of times they went at half time 0-0, and they because they were patient, they soaked up the pressure, and then, like you say, hit people on the break because they knew the goal would come, but they just took the time. And look at that. I mean, they had 41 touches in the box. We had 15. But goalkeeper saves, their goalkeeper only had to make 1. Ours made 6. We didn't pick the ball out the net legally at all. They did. But that was a penalty, we'll come out and say, but what a save by Stolarczyk.
Oh, mate, it's doing the rounds on the social media. I saw that Second Tier podcast, quite a well-known Championship podcast channel. They have waxed lyrical about it and the goal, funny enough. And again, Chris, that shows you the most important stat is, you could have 7 shots, they could have had 17 on target.
Yeah.
Stolarczyk had one of the best games, if not the best game he's ever had in a Leicester shirt. And 50% of the time that goalkeeper picked the ball out of his net from shots on target.
All I'm going to say is mad soup.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I would 8 to be Mads right now. And 8.
13 corners they had. So, look, you can see the way that the game's gone. Almost 50-50 possession, but it was all them going forward. And this was why when I gave my team performance, it was quite high for the game that we didn't, do when you look at those stats. But you've got to defend in games as well as attack.
Yeah, sometimes the best form of attack is defence. And if anything else, Chris, you make that comparison, bringing it back to the 20 and 7. I mean, how many of them were outside the box? How many of them were miles over the box?
No, I haven't got that stat. That's why you asked for that. Normally, last season, I would have had that stat. I'm trying to cut back on the stats because I know you like them. So don't start asking me for stats.
No, right. I just, you know what, ladies? It's easy, ladies and gents. It's so easy just to fish it. Got him. But again, because my point is,
no. You're not getting away with that because I'm going to give you. I can't find it at the moment, but I'm going to give you something.
Take me out for dinner first.
Fuck you.
I'll take that out. It could have been a lot worse with you, but no, because I've also thrown myself off my point I was just making. Then that's a genius thing. What was I saying?
I don't know, but I'm glad I put you off the point because where were the shots coming from?
Well, they'll come from outside the box, and we would, defenders. That was it. Defenders best form of attack. If you get that right, Chris, against a team that, like you said, came out as out the blocks.
Actually, sorry, attempts out of the box. I do have that stat up there. 4 attempts they had outside the box. We had 1.
So we managed to defend well in the box. And how many times, not just last year, but the year before, and even the year before that, Chris, was the box? Yeah, exactly. One of them. In fact, Chris, I will tell you this now. If you have the Leicester City app on your phone, you can use their website that brings up all these stats like this as well. Yeah. Just things for a future. I know you're a BBC.
No. The reason I use I don't use the Leicester one is because I use it on my computer so I can copy and paste. But the Leicester ones, they're not easily cuttable because of the size of them. So.
No, just BBC. Anyway, I'm a BBC correspondent. My name's Chris Coffey and I use Big BBC. But no,
jealousy will get you nowhere, mate.
But that tells you, Chris, that we coped with a lot of the balls into the box. We defended resolutely. And there was a few moments where, they put the bodies on the line. And Jesus Christ, Chris, 2 incidents, Chowdhury and Akoli. 2 very key moments in that second half, Chris. Through the head, Chowdhury first threw his head in front of it to stop it. I think Luke Thomas, put his body in front of a striker in the first half to stop us, what would have been a tap in for Charlton in that first half. And then Akoli, who I really love to see it, Chris. He slammed his leg down. It hit his knee and ricocheted out for a corner, and he was like that. He was, come on.
And Hamza did as well. And that says mountains of the attitude of those 2 particular players.
Yeah, it does. It shows you, like you said, the commitment to want to wear the shirt, to be happy to be here. And like I said, I've already said this, Chris, and I'm going to say it again in a bit when we get to it. Keep Akoli and players like that at all costs. In the midst of uncertainty, if there's one thing Marty must be happy for, is that he can look at a certain handful of players, like Akoli, it seems, like Hamza, like Ricardo, who hasn't even hinted, by the way, considering he's an international, to want to be leaving. Like, obviously, seemingly we're getting the impression with Fatawu and others that are probably on that list, and go, well, at least I know you lot want to be here.
Yeah. This is interesting. I think it's interesting. 380 passes we had, 100 more or 98 more than they had. 146 forward passes, 53 successful final third passes. Now, this is the one I want to talk to you about, though. 68 back passes. Now, I know everybody hates back passes, but what do you do if you want to keep possession?
You move the ball around.
You have to, basically, if you want to go forward, you're not going to go forward if you haven't got the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
Is what I meant to say. So playing it back sometimes is necessary. I can't say, having watched that game, I'm quite surprised at that stat, because I don't think if we do pass the ball back, there's a purpose behind it. Where under Rude, we were passing it back because we'd gone over the halfway line and we realised we shouldn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, you would have flipped them stats around last season. It would have been 66 or whatever it was forward passes and 250 backwards passes. Okay, some people might argue that number doesn't include sideways passing, but again, you've got to move it across the field. If you try and go down the same channel every time, they're just going to end up with 10 men marking over that side, because it'd be like, no, don't worry about the middle and the left, because the left will always go down that side. You've got to do it. And I feel, Chris, that if Leicester, this was the first game they were able to do it, Chris, maybe it needs to happen in the first half or early in the game. I feel like this is what Leicester are looking to do, is just keep the ball. Sometimes keeping the ball and refreshing. You've maybe missed the opportunity to get in behind them, so all of a sudden they've got 8 players in the box. Well, how is a striker and 2 wingers going to get through that? You've got to drag them back out.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah. I'm just looking at these. 15 tackles we made. 54% or just 53%. We won 9 fouls to their 18. So that backs up what everybody was saying about them being dirty. But maybe they know their limitations, and maybe they just haven't got a very good manager. Didn't he do very well at Southampton, if I remember? No, he didn't, did he? 44 clearances, 1 off the line. Basically, it wasn't a penalty, was it? And the referee had already blown. You could argue that maybe Okoli was being very clever there, but he was being held. But he did the obvious thing. He didn't try and stay up. He just went down because he could see, the referee was there. The referee had a clear view of it.
Yeah, and today's football, it's all about that, Chris. The referee's looking out for it. The assistants, especially in this division when they don't have VAR, which is a blessing in its own way. Until VAR gets to a point where it's actually used for clear and obvious, and not a nose hair being offside. Gordon Bennett, because we will go down that route at some point. They're looking for it, Chris.
There'll be no beards in football then, will there?
No. Bloody hell, poor people with long nose will be told to go and take up another sport because they'll be afraid that the left nostril will be offside. But no, I mean, at the end of the day, Chris, it goes at him. And one thing I will say is there wasn't really much of a reaction from Charlton players. I know the whistle went early and that maybe takes the sting out of it, but sometimes you have players going, no, that's a wrong decision. Why have you done that? Why have you blown for that? That was never a foul. They kind of went, oh, well, yeah, it probably was. Because, again, you can't do that in football. I think we got a booking earlier in the game. What made me laugh is, and he was a right knobhead. He was such a knobhead. He had a brilliant chance and he ruined a good game by his attitude. He grabbed Samare, Connor Coventry. I mean, talk about a player who's destined to end his career at a certain club. Grabbed his shirt, grabbed his shorts. I'm thinking, whoa, mate, you only swap shirts at full time, not both. You can't be asking for both.
Yeah.
Pulled him. Samare, by the way, just kind of went, hold on, something attached to me here. Why can't I go forward? Not realising some little scrot bag from Charlton was pulling on his shorts and his things. Referee gives a free kick and he's giving it all the getting his face like, what, mate? It's like, mate, my little fingers fucking got more meat on it than you. Samara will knock you out, mate. Don't get mouthing cocky and act like you didn't do anything wrong. Like, that was the only instant where Charlton, I was looking at him going, are you all right, mate? Is your brain not working in first gear or something? Because why are you acting as if you've done nothing wrong? And why are you getting all smug as if you stopped him? Samara was like that. Oh, there's a little fly on me or something trying to stop me going forward. Yeah, but apart from that, idiot, you can't do that in today's football and not give away a foul.
Daedler says here, and I've butchered his name, Coley's not good enough, no point celebrating a block. What we were actually doing, I think you'll find, Daedalus, and I get what you're saying, but we were actually celebrating the attitude that he showed.
Yeah.
Remember, who was it last season celebrated getting a throw-in?
Oh.
You know, I mean,
I can't
yes, the little things, but to me, that says tons about the attitude of the player.
Yeah, and you must have been watching a different game to many a people, Dowders, because are Coley not good enough? Okay, then. I don't know what performance you're watching, but okay, then. I think he proved he was more than good enough in this division, at least, to do his job.
I think he's got a mistake in him.
He does.
Every player has. I think, and this is the thing about going down. All these players, like a Coley, like your Silko Thomases, your Mongers, they're all going to benefit from having a season outside the Premier League. Sorry, read the rest. He says, you are doing your job. Fraze did this when he first turned up. It is self-aggrandizing. I'm sorry, I still like his attitude. I think it's a great attitude. Right, I was going to talk to you about Ricardo, but we'll do that when we go through the play. I just hope he can keep fit, mate. If he can keep fit, he's going to be such an asset in this league, especially now we've sold Justin, because, of course, he was our prime right back, wasn't he? But I hope Ricardo can keep fit, and if he can keep fit, we know he's just superb at this level. We've seen it. Even 2 years on, I think he will be. We haven't got your tactics this week, so let's go on to player ratings. It's you and me. It's you and me versus Jordan Blackwell from Leicestershire Live. I'm not going to write them down this week. We're just going to go through them. So we're going to start with the starting 11. And first up is the young Stolarczyk. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We will give ours first, and then I'll come out with what Jordan has said. He wasn't my man of the match, but he was very close to being my man of the match. He was one of, when I went for my man of the, I'm just trying to see where I've written it here. I've got two players as man of the match, and he was one of them, but so he didn't get the final cut for me. But I'm going to give him a 9.
Yeah, he was very, very good, Chris. He is definitely. It was. This is a difficult one to rate because, like you, Chris, I'm pretty sure I know who at least one of the other people you had, at least who your man of the match is going to be. But you don't.
Do you though? You?
I've got an idea, Chris. You don't allow 0.5s anymore because you're a knob. To be honest with you, that would be
you too, Brad.
That would be the way I'd separate the two. But for me, Chris, and I kept telling myself, Goalkeepers Union, he's going to say it, but the guy made the most saves throughout the championship. There wasn't a single goalkeeper in that division that week that made more saves than him, and that was a world-class save. And some of the other saves might have looked bog standard, but they were very good reaction saves from how close some of the players had their chances to him. So for me, Chris, by a 0.5, which you won't let me have because you're a knob, So I'm going to give him a 9, Chris. Jakub Stolarczyk had his best game by a long way for Leicester.
The reason I'm not going to give 0.5s is because I've decided that Jordan doesn't do 0.5. So
no, fuck Jordan. Who cares what he thinks?
Well, what I tell you what he does think.
That's what.
The reason that I've given Stolarczyk 9 is because of that save. But even without that save, I would have given him an 8, and he was my deserves a mention, if you like. He claimed crosses throughout the first half and reduced the top stop to parry away Coventry's long-range drive. Corners proved more difficult in the second period, but he got his positioning right to make the saves and keep Charlton out. And he got an 8 off Jordan.
Chris, I have got some breaking news.
Oh, you got some breaking news? Hang on a second. I think I may have this.
This information, as I went to go and find a tweet from a couple of days ago, has just popped up on my newsfeed an hour ago from our best friend, Chris. Mr. Jordan Blackwell is the source given here. EFL confirmed that Leicester City are not to undergo any kind of transfer or registration embargo. That is tweeted as a source from A. Jordan Blackwell.
Can I just say, I did say that at the start of the show.
I thought you were still on about the fact that he could.
No. And I did say in the show earlier on today that as well. No, that they have contacted the EFL and there isn't a transfer embargo or a registration embargo. Obviously, the thing we don't know is a business plan, but there we go. I have to say, yes, there was a lot of corners in that second half, wasn't there? But I remember, I don't know if you've seen the Chelsea West Ham game, but there's a lot of flapping going on by the West Ham keeper.
Yeah, I wonder what club mugged them of 18 to 20 million pound for it. Right. The selling team.
Yeah, well, Chowdhury had a good game for me. He gets the 7 for me.
Yeah, well, you won't allow me to do 0.5.
No, I won't. You can say it as often as you want. I'm still not allowing you to do 0.5s.
You're a mean man, Chris. You're a mean man. He was my deserves a mention, if you will. He kind of chopped and changed with. I'm just really trying to find a tweet as well. He was tossed and turned between him and Stolarczyk for my man of the match. Now, in the old system, Chris, that we did last year, which I thought was very fair and very just, I would have given him an 8.5. But I'm going to give him an 8 because I just thought it was brilliant. He had a job to fill in. No Justin, we now know why. No Ricardo coming back from from an injury. So we know that's there. Solid. Put in some great blocks. Had a little flashback moment to that West Brom game 2 years ago where he cleared one from underneath his nose. Never shirks responsibility. A solid 8 for me, Chris.
8 for you. Sorry, I should have said Pashan went 8 for Stolarczyk, and he's gone 7 for Chowdhury, as indeed has Jordan gone 7. Defensively is really strong, getting back to help his centre-backs deal with man-mouth in Leeburn, who was putting in good blocks and diverting a goal-bound header wide. On the ball, he was so-so. I thought he had a decent game. Right, I'll let you go first with this one. And I'm remembering at the moment to change the graphics over. Mr. Caleb Okoli.
Yeah, talk about a man who's been given a second lease of life. But look, for all the world, early doors when he was linked away, Chris, that he was gonna, he was gonna go.
Italy,
he was going back to Italy. He seemed a player who wanted to be gone. Was maybe not well, he probably was unhappy here, but he was a player that Leicester wanted, that he wanted out, and Leicester weren't going to miss him. We was probably talking about extra. Oh, I can't find this tweet. It pissed me off. It brings up the stats, but forget it. It's there. Has been phenomenal. Assured defending. Yes, he's got a mistake in him. Like you said, like everybody does. Very solid player. Very solid performance. Definitely more defensive than he is trying to push forward, which isn't a bad thing. I know it's something I complimented FaZe for, but it's something for me that he did. I'm going to give him a 7, Chris. Kept a clean sheet. You can't not give him a 7 for that, at least.
Right, I'm going to be very controversial here.
You? Controversial? Never.
I know. No, not the other half. Be on camera for this, Brad, because I want to see your reaction. Right, I am going to give Mr. Okoli a 9, and he was my man of the match.
Wow. Well, tickle me pink and call me Candice, because I did not expect that to be your man of the match.
I thought he had yes, he made a mistake, but I think he had a pretty solid game. And I think he is getting better and better week by week. And I just hope we don't sell him. I hope we can keep hold of him. And I hope that we start to build our defence around him. He should be, when you're looking at the defence, not saying for the whole team, when you're looking at that back four, he has got to be the first name on that list for me.
Yeah, you're not wrong, Chris. Sorry, I've got a bit of cramp in my leg. That's
all right.
I'm trying to stretch it out. No, you're not wrong, Chris. I think we need to build around him. I think if it's him, Vestergaard and Nelson, you maybe either promote someone else or you need to get someone in. Whether we can or not, I don't know. But again, we have got other players that can play in that position. I think he's got to be a mainstay, Chris. Cifuentes was asked about Abdou Fatawu, and he said that he has a few players that he definitely wants to keep in this squad, and Abdul was one of them. I would hope that he's having that with Okoli, because, like I say, Chris, before the season started, there was a little bit of a murmur about Okoli, and we was all like, yeah, well, he hasn't really had the chance. Not surprised he wants to go, but I feel like he probably walked into the training ground, first game of the season, Chris, and got on there and looked at glanced at the team sheet, and then went, hold on a minute, that says my name in the starting 11. What's going on here? And then the next week after the cup game, he's gone on, I'm in the starting 11 again, and then he's played. He's gone to Charlton, going, oh well, this is where I run out of it. No, I'm still in the starting 11. And Friday comes along, Chris. He's now going to probably get to Friday going, I'm going to be in the starting 11 again. Yeah, whatever. I don't care about these other teams. I'm happy here now. I'm getting what I wanted, and this is what I signed for. I signed for first team football. Now this gaffer's come in and got a brain and wants to pick me. Yeah, I don't want to go anywhere. Don't worry about me going anywhere, boss. I'm going to stay here.
Let me tell you that he got a 5 off Jordan.
Oh, fuck off, Jordan. Me, you outside, King Power, 9 o'clock, live on YouTube. Let's go, because you're no, Chris, I'm going to swear. Just tell people why Jordan has no brain cells and gives a fucking fuck.
Anyway, he goes. He dallied on the ball early to lose possession, and his passing was undercooked throughout, but he did help the defensive effort with a few strong headers. Right, Vestergaard, I'll let you go first again, Brad.
Sorry, Chris, I was effing and jeffing in the kitchen, so I just wanted, it's just not right. I mean, get yourself a brain, get a check to see if you've actually got a brain cell, Jordan, for God's sake. I'm going to match it up, Chris. His weakness was exploited, which was not an obvious, it was a very obvious weakness by Preston the week before. He kept his place. He kept his faith in him. And what he's gone and done now is he's gone and put in a solid performance. Sit deeper back than the other two defenders, and you'll do a job. Won his headers, had a chance from that great cross, by the way, by Luke Thomas to have put us 1-0 up.
Last week that went in, didn't it? But a couple of weeks ago, I mean. But this week it wasn't to be.
I know, if he'd have scored that goal, I'd have started asking if it was Matt Elliott in disguise. Playing centre forward like Martin O'Neill did. Maybe it's the name, Chris. Martin. They like to play centre backs up front. Who knows?
I don't know where Yannick comes into that, but carry on.
Well, no, I meant Mel Martin putting Elliott up front and
yeah,
see, twat. But no, me, Chris. Solid performance. I do like to do this. It might seem a bit of a cop-out, but again, clean sheet, good centre-back pairing, played well. 7.
You're breaking up a little bit there, mate.
Sorry.
Right. Okay. I'm going to agree with you.
Yeah.
Are you all right?
Yeah, sorry.
Have you gone? I can. We could hear you before, but you were just breaking up a bit.
Oh, was I? Sorry, Chris. I'm trying to sort it out.
Yeah. Coley got a 6 off Prashant, and he gives Vestergaard a 7. I agree with you with a 7. Did nothing wrong, but for me, Coley was the better of the two. But he does get an 8 off Jordan. Sorry.
This is what I don't get right. I can understand 1 or 2 differences. I can understand maybe a 2-point difference if one of them's made, like you with a Coley and Vestergaard. But how can you give one of your fucking centre backs a 5 and then the other one, what was it, an 8?
An 8, yes, yeah.
Put the crack pipe down, Jordan, and get a new job, mate. Because you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know football. That's for fucking sure.
I'm going to get him on the show one day with you.
Yeah, if he does on the show, I won't hide the fact that I think he's an idiot at rating players.
And he'll never come back again. Luke Thomas had an okay game. And with the other defenders, I've given a 7, a 9, and a 7. I'm going to pretty much stick at that. I'm going to give Luke Thomas a 7 as well.
I think he got exposed a bit, and this is probably more due to his left winger, something that you don't always get the luxury of having with a wing back, with a winger, is their ability, or in this case, you could argue their inability to track back and cover, which is why I think he did better in the second half when he had more bodies up there to help him out.
Mm.
It wasn't his greatest game, but he still did what he needed to do well at the same time. I'm gonna give him a 6, Chris, because there was a few times he got beat, and in that second half, bless him because he got ran ragged, to be fair, but he looked a bit leggy, and that's where the worry comes in. Although we do have to remember, again, love him or hate him, Christensen is returning from injury, so he will have backup to put on there.
Yeah. So you've given him a 6. I did feel like you were dying to say 6.5, but you can't.
I was mob, so
let it get. Right, I'm gonna say this to you, Brad, and I'm gonna say it once, and then I'm not gonna say it again. But I've got to find it first of all. Here we go. There you go. He got a 7 off Jordan as well. He made 1 alert intervention to stop Carey scoring a tap-in the first half and was generally good in his one-on-one battles. His passing was hit and miss, but it was a decent all-round display. Right. Oh, my God. Here we go. Your turn to go first for a couple of them, Brad. And you are going... sorry, let me just see what Prashant went for.
He went 6 for Thomas and 7 for
Thomas. Yeah. There we go. The Man Mountain himself.
I'm just going to give a few impressions. So a few tweets that I saw going around on social media, even despite the fact your love of stats going around. I tried to find the tweet, but I can't remember. I don't know. It was one of the Leicester pages I'm following, but they tweeted out his stats for the game against Charlton. But you know how, do you remember Chilwell? Rat, isn't he? He's a rat. Let's face it, he's a rat, right? But until he became a rat, he was everybody's scapegoat, wasn't he? If you wanted someone to moan about who didn't have a good game, even if he won 9-0, it was always Chilwell, wasn't it? Lost, that was all Chilwell's fault. Leicester, Chilwell doesn't even play the game, right? It's still Chilwell's fault. It seems like some fans just instantly have it programmed into their brain to go, well, tomorrow, he didn't have a good game, he was still shit. No, he wasn't, you absolute tards. In fact, I've just clocked that I retweeted the tweet. Let me give you, Chris, you'll love this. Don't get too excited. Don't get tissues out, Chris, but don't say I don't treat you here, Chris, right? This is, if I remember right, if I retweeted it, this is the stats of Boubakary Soumaré for Boubakary Soumaré versus Charlton Athletic. Minutes played, 90 minutes. 98% pass accuracy, 42 out of 43. 5 passes into the final third, 4 out of 5 ground duels won, 4 ball recoveries. Now, whether that was him giving away the ball or not initially, he still won them back, right? 3 out of 3 aerial duels won, 3 clearances, 2 chances created, 1 goal assisted. But Soumaré was still shit against Charlton. Grow up, 8. Anyone sits here and wants to go, Soumaré's awful, can't kick a ball. Read it and pissing weep.
I have to say, while you were looking, I was looking as well. And I got to say, I was getting pretty much the same. I got 2 key passes, 97.7% pass rate. You got 98. There was, damn it. 3 aerial duels won, 55 touches, and a rating here off whoscored.com of 7.5. And they give 0.5s. 7.54 actually. They go to the second point. He got an assist. I wasn't as impressed as you.
If
anybody's out there clipping this,
please don't.
I might have to. Yeah, this might be a show all on its own. I thought 4, to be honest with you.
You did not.
I did.
You gave him a 4?
Yeah? No,
You're
I didn't.
Drugs, mate. I was going to say, you're on drugs worse than Jordan. Tell me you're smoking so I can get Jordan arrested for dealing.
I gave him 7, in fairness. Look, he's not my favourite player, as you know, and he's got to do something really outstanding to get any higher than a 7. But as I said to you earlier, out of the 2 defensive midfielders, he was the better of the 2. I just don't know what sort of... let's just have a look, actually. Soumaré, 3 tackles, 1 interception, 3 clearances. That's not bad for a defensive midfielder.
You. Dallas, do you listen, mate? Do you clear these out? Listen to what he's put, Chris. That was because Winks was there to allow him to go forward. Too many passes given away. 98% pass accuracy. How does he give the ball away too many times if he had a 98 pass accuracy? Learn to listen, learn to read and look at stats. 98 pass accuracy. 42 out of 4. My God, do some people just not listen to us and just want to go, meh, 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 meh? For God's sake, actually use these and listen. I literally read the stats out for you. He had a 98 pass accuracy, but you're here going, he gets the ball away too much. Oh, my life. Go and get your ears tested. Ring your GP up tomorrow morning. Set 13 alarms because you're clearly having a bit of hearing trouble. and ring them up and say, I need my ears testing because I heard 9.8% and said he gave the ball away too much when he had 98 pass accuracy. Oh, Chris, I love you all to death, I really do, but sometimes some of you just type before you listen and just pay attention.
Sorry, you're backwards.
I'm not a statistician, mate. This thing is a statistician and it tells you got 98%.
As indeed I did confirm, in fairness, you know.
Sorry, no, I'll take that back. It was 97.68% recurring, whatever it was. I don't need to watch the 90 minutes, mate. Stats are stats. You can argue them to be on the face. But you're going to tell me that my wall's not white, it's blue, the way you seem to be arguing about his passing percentage. Come on. You don't have to like him, right? I'm not saying you have to like him and suddenly be your best player. And he's not my best player or favourite player despite things. But when he has a good game, just admit he had a good game. You cannot argue with them facts and figures. Move on, Chris, before I have an aneurysm.
This is a show on its own.
Hey, clip this whole 30 minutes. Samara start. I told you the rant was coming and I knew I might offend someone or get on someone's goat, but for God's sake, you can't come out and say he kept giving the ball away when the literal stats of individual player literally told you he didn't have that.
Not to do with me, Douglas. Nothing to do with me.
I'm just saying, don't like it, that's fine.
Let me tell you what Jordan gave him, shall I?
If Jordan gave him a 4, then we know who Dash House is.
Much improved.
Oh, fuck me if even Jordan's saying something. I need a
pass to Edley, but he dominated the midfield like he was supposed to for the most part, getting back to make tackles, receiving the ball to feet and moving it forward. Although through passes or surges, either through passes or surges into space. He got 7.
Didn't hear a mention of him not giving the ball away. You know what I mean? I'm sure if Dust House, we know. Well, oh, piss off, Chris. I've just had a rant. Now I'm in a bad mood. I've just seen who's up next.
Indeedy. No, he's not. He's not here anymore, is he? Right. Can I just say, I'm gonna give you some stats now, Brad.
Oh God! All right, and you know what? If these are good stats, well,
right. In their defensive roles, Tamari had 3 tackles. Now remember, these are both defensive midfielders. I know Skip was only on for 73 minutes, but Tamari had 3 tackles. Skip had 0. Tamari had 1 interception. Skip had 0. Clearances 3 for Samare, 2 for Skip. Neither of them had any block shots. So looking at that, to me, to you, who would you say was the better defensive midfielder? And now look, I have tried to defend Skip as much as I can.
You've done a better job than he does.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I can't defend this guy anymore. I'd love him to come good. We would love every player to come good for Leicester. Of course we would. Otherwise, what's the point? But I'm sorry, he doesn't get an awful lot from me. I might as well go this one. We're not doing halves, are we?
No, yeah, come to bite you on the arse now, innit, Mister? Not doing halves.
I'm going to go 3.
Well, I've had this a few times with players over the crew over my time supporting Leicester, where I felt we were actually a deficit of a player more than level pegging with a player.
Yeah.
Now, the last person I really had a gripe about being on the starting 11 and doing fuck all for us was Iosi Perez.
I thought you loved him.
Oh, my best friend. We go way back.
Yeah.
Right? Now, don't get me wrong. When he had good moments, I was here to back him. And I'd love to sit here and give it the same treatment I did to Skip. Unfortunately, as you've proven, Chris, if the stats don't lie on Samara, they also don't lie on Skip.
Yeah.
He did not help fill Lewis Page with confidence. And that was the worrying factor, Chris, because when he was giving the ball away, he was supposed to be the outlet. And the man that came on for him, who might just have, had a rocket shoved up his arse or given a good clip round the back of the head and told to grow up. I don't know if he listened to my rant maybe the weekend before.
I think maybe he's playing for a move. And I'm just putting it out there.
Maybe either way, he came on and instilled that reassurance in the midfield and looked a lot better. At times, I didn't even know Skip was on the pitch. And the other time I did know Skip was on the pitch because this bold circle of a head was shining like a beacon in the sun and was giving the ball away.
Don't you ever go at bold people?
Oh, yeah, but you're in your 60s. He's like 26.
That is true. Yeah.
The stress of being a con artist has made him go bold because he's still in football. Chris, I was going to thinking that I was being harsh by giving him a 4, but I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to drop it down to a 3 as well.
Yeah, he was. I mean, I'm not doing a donkey thing this year, but if there was a donkey of the match, I'm sorry, Ollie. I've tried to defend you as much as I can. Now you are just beyond defending. I wanted to see you and Winks together. Saw you two play together, and I never want to see you play together again. Winks has to go, unfortunately, because he's on 90 grand a week. No other reason than that. And again, he's in his last year. But I'm sorry, I wish it was you. Prashant's gone 4, and actually Prashant is agreeing with Jordan. He received the pass through the lines in the build-up to the Fatawu goal, but it's difficult to pinpoint any more positive moment. While adversely there were a few shoddy passes of play, including one header that put City in trouble, for a central midfielder, he didn't provide enough. 4. Now, I've got to say, I'm going to say this, Brad, and I know this will probably piss you off, but credit where credit's due. I think he's nailed it there, Jordan.
No, I mean, a broken clock is right twice a day.
Yes.
Jordan gets it dead on, and he has there, Chris.
Yes.
And before people get on the high horse about it, we're not bashing Skip just because we don't like him, because Chris has freely admitted he's not too keen on Samari, but when he has a good game, he's going to stand by his credentials and go, look, he had a good game. I'm not going to give him a 3 just because I don't like him. And that will happen if Skip ever has a good game. You've got more chance of me landing on the moon than that happening right about now. But if it does happen, I will be there to sing the praises. I'm sorry, Chris. Right now, if you said there's a position that worries me, if Harry Winks does get this move away, and it has, I know the talks have died down, but it could still happen.
Yeah.
If we do lose Harry Winks, I'm worried that we've only got Skip as that backup who's supposed to do that role. Because, like I said, Chris, unfortunately, we've seen Alves, we've seen Silko, and that, but we have not seen Sammy Braybook. And that's like talent that them two are coming through. One of them's kind of holding on by this, by his fingernails to having that breakthrough by being in the team and playing in that cup game. And the other one's nowhere near. Now, if they were both on the bench and maybe got a couple of minutes here and there, I wouldn't be too worried. My worry is that Skip becomes the mainstay over Winks, and that makes me wake up in cold sweats.
I think this. I read into this that, look, it seems to be that Marty, and in Marty we trust. I think we've got a manager here, and we'll come on to him in a second. But he's playing Skip and Sumari together because he's expecting Winks to leave. And look, financially, we've got to get Winks has got to go. But yeah, this guy, I can't defend him anymore. Tried to look. None of us want these players to do badly. That's the thing. We all want them to do well, because if they're doing well, our club's doing well. But It's just he's got an unfortunate name, and unfortunately, he's not a good player. Louis Page. I'd like to give him more. I really, really would. It was a difficult game for him. I'm going to give him a 5. He did nothing wrong. He didn't cost us a goal or anything like that, but he was just muscled out of the game. And that is something, when you look at Thomas, for example, Luke Thomas, that is, then we've got to say that, a couple of years ago, he was a bit of a scrawny old rag, wasn't he? But he's beefed up a bit.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it, but give a clue. But Prashant has agreed with me. We've both gone 5.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it a full house of 5s, Chris, because again, I don't think he did anything wrong, but I can still remember distinctively that there was a I think it was the chance they had where Stolarczyk picked it out the top corner, made a save from. That chance, I believe, came about from him getting muscled off the ball, and all right, you could say the centre back and the 2 CDM maybe didn't react quick enough to it, but he held on to the ball a bit too much. I think he got a little bit scared at times. He put in a great effort, and it's a big learning curve for him. And you're going to have a baptism of fire. A physical game like that is one to grow and develop on. I think he's going to be one that maybe we see off the bench like a bit longer last season.
He eased into it, if you like.
Yeah. I feel that the reason we made that decision was because he didn't want to put. Well, we know why, Chris. We know the reason to start this game, which is, it would have been nice and lovely if he had the debut to remember. Well, I'm sure he'll remember it personally. But if he'd have come on, had a brilliant performance, set up a chance, and maybe grabbed a goal, he did have a chance. He did have a shot. But we know the reason he started that game and didn't come off the bench was because Marty didn't want to play Canoes. But maybe this is it, Chris. Players like Monga had the baptism of fire last year. They learned lessons. Luke Thomas has been around a bit now, and he's still only in his early 20s, Chris. So, he had that baptism of fire, and it was in a high division, and he has to build on it. It's just it's step one into the journey for Lewis Page to become a midfielder. I don't know if he has, Chris, because I know there was really early talks that he'd been offered a contract and turned it down, but apparently now he wants to stay. I don't know if he's signed a new contract or a deal with Leicester. I haven't heard anything.
I'm not sure. He's 17. I'm not sure what his position is. But again...
midfielder, Chris, it says there, 25 midfielder.
Sometimes, Brad, you are just an absolute dick. Do you know?
I do, Chris. I do know that. Oh, you're frozen.
Did you realise it? I don't know what his position on his contract is. Somebody may tell us in the chat. But I think a lot of these players are going to be looking and going, Monga's staying. And in fairness, I think that's probably what they would be looking at. Right. But he gets a 5 as well off Jordan. So it's a full house of 5s. A teenager on his first start, Charlton made life difficult as possible for him, rushing hard to press him and force him back. He kept the ball well at first, but had a few moments where he lost his footing and looked a little out of his depth. He did make good forward runs, so and he gets a 5. Right, here we go, Mr. Fatawu. Voulez-vous? Ha ha. Now, look, I'm not one to say, and he's not my man of the match. I went controversially early with that, and I don't like making players brilliant just because they scored a goal. Even if it's the winning goal, because there's more to just being man of the match than that.
Yeah.
However, with Stolarczyk, I upped him from an 8 to a 9 because of that amazing save.
Yeah.
So I am going to up this guy to an 8.
Wow.
Because of that goal. I'd have given him a 7, and I'm taking into account the fact that, yes, he did lose the ball a lot, and that's his will. But hi, Nate, how you doing? It's been a while, mate. Nice to see you. To see you, nice, as Brucey used to say. But he's got 2 players on him all the time, and he still managed sometimes to beat both of them. And he's going to have to get used to that. Marty will know that's going to happen a lot because, you know, players are going to look at this Leicester side and go, oh, my dear, the 2 players we've got to watch are Monga and Fatawu. And we're asked if we're doing, you know, shows on other channels, or who should we be watching out for? It's Monga and Fatawu.
Yeah, very true.
And it's going to take, if any goal that Leicester score for the next 45 odd games beats that as goal of the season for Leicester, it deserves to be.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, it probably deserved to be goal of the season for the Championship, and we're only 3 games in it. It will take some beating, and for that, and I'm very critical of Fatawu when he does try to do too much. But that was fucking amazing, that goal. That really was. And he gets an 8 from me.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's an 8. I will say that I am surprised it's an 8. For me, he was 5 or a 6 throughout the majority of that game. Now, the goal opened up for a little bit. We had a little bit of a pressure spell where we could have maybe grabbed a second. But after that, the game kind of meandered back to a midfield scrappy battle, couple of chances for Charlton near the end. And he didn't really get much else of the game. And again, these are going to, I tell you, you're going to revert back to them at some point. This would be a 5.5 in an ideal world, Chris. But if we're saying bonus points for goal of the season contender,
you don't have to. No, that's what I'm just saying that.
No, I'll give him 5.5, Chris. So I do what I will do what I was taught in maths. I will round it up. Because 5 or higher, you round it up. So I'm going to give him a 6, though, Chris, because realistically, apart from the best goal we're going to see this season, and like you said, if anything beats it, it deserves to because it was that good of a goal. Yeah, it shows one to watch. We talk about him a lot, and it's almost a show of respect to his talent and ability that they double or triple mark him at times. And yes, he did create it, but sometimes he tried to overcomplicate it, trying to get past him instead of maybe reverting it back to back inside to RU or back into the midfield to someone with a 98% pass accuracy. In the midfield, someone.
Skip, I think you're talking about, yeah.
It might have been because
it began with an S anyway. I'm sure it was Skip. But
an S his name somewhere. But yeah, my point is, Chris, if that goal doesn't go in, minus fact obviously we don't win the game. I don't think we're talking 7s, 8s there. So for me, I can't even think about a 7. It's moments of brilliance we're going to hopefully see throughout the season from him like that. Mahrez-esque, if you will, with the finish ability. But I have to give him a 6 because I just don't think he was that brilliant going forward.
Okay, no. I mean, it's all about opinion.
Instead of a 5, if he had cut in and scored a goal like that, that's where I look at it. And my answer is no.
It's fair enough. Like I say, this is all about opinions. And if you feel that he's wasn't the match winner or anything like that, then you go ahead with it. It's not for me to sort of just say you were wrong, really. But
your opinion is wrong.
I remember. I think it was you, Chris, that said, "Now people are going to give Jamie Vardy a 7 or an 8 because he scored a goal, but realistically, he didn't do a lot. I'm not going to give 7 or 8 just because."
No. I did say that. You're quite right. but nobody else understands what we're doing when we do that, which is probably just as well. It's an in-joke between me and Brad. But I thought he had a better game than you did, in fairness. Now, Prashant has swallowed a Brad pill here because he's going 5 for the first half, 8 for the second half, so 7 for me. And it would have been a 6.5, but I thought I would round it up. Fucking hell, Prashant, you've been watching Brad way too long here.
Give us back our 0.5s, Chris. It'll all stop.
No, we're not doing that. Oh, my God, Monga. Oh, sorry, I didn't say he got a 7 off Jordan. Straight down the middle, he agreed with Prashant. Monga. Now, hopefully Wayne he's not watching anymore. Hopefully he's gone to bed. I wasn't impressed with this. Like I said at the start, he's a super sub against a tired defence. He's out of this world, but he's not going to meet many teams as physical as Charlton this season. They were a very physical side, and he would have completely, I think, when we play Birmingham, or like I think you said earlier, they're more open. They like to go forward. He'll get the space more, and it'll be a different time. But for this one, for me, I'm going to give him a 5, I'm afraid.
No, I have to agree, Chris. Wasn't a bad game, but he didn't do anything creative like he has been doing. And again, a bit like Fatwa with his 1 and 5 and his goals. If this is his 1 and 5 bad performance, or he has, or a really notable performance where he doesn't do anything or isn't able to do anything, I am going to be okay with that. And again, I think you're going to have to just pick and choose which games he starts over Mavididi and which games you bring him off the bench. I wouldn't be adverse to him coming off the bench against Birmingham if you've got Mavididi running at them for 60 minutes and then him running at them for another half hour. Either way would work for me. But again, Chris, he just got a bit isolated. I think he needs to drop back a bit defensively, maybe be willing to pick the ball up a bit deeper to be able to run at players. Because it can, I know he's got a burst of pace, Chris, but it's still very difficult to get that ball to feet with no momentum and have 2 players blocking off your pass and then tell him to knock the ball on and run past him. He's not always going to do that. But these these wing backs that are marking him and centre backs that cover him, Chris, they're in the mid-20s or early 30s and they've been around the block a bit, so they know how to deal with a youngster, and it's not always going to do it. I'm going to agree with you, Chris. I'm going to give him a 5.
Yeah,
it a few 5s this season, I feel.
Yeah, as indeed did Jordan. As with Page, Charlton tried to bully Monga, with Ramsey getting tight quickly to stop him. Even that meant kicking him to the ground. Monga kept picking himself up, but he never really got going. His skills were early on show. And this is the problem with him, and it's a good problem to have, that his standards and his play are so high normally that when he has a bad game, and it wasn't all down to him that he had a bad game, because like you say, he's playing, 30-year-olds and what have you, and they were very physical, Charlton, but he has just got such high standards. Ayew hasn't scored this season, but he is doing what I thought he would be doing, which is playing up front as a starter. As Jordan says here, holding the ball up proved difficult at first, did improve in regard throughout the match. He was more effective when he dropped deeper. Do you think that he could be, I know he's number 9, obviously there, and actually I think that's quite a good move, giving him the number 9, and it doesn't put any pressure if we do buy a younger striker. Do you think he could be better as a number 9 with a new striker in front?
Possibly, Chris. It might be a case that maybe against Birmingham that they actually start with the formation that they go to in the second half. I feel he's more influential in the second half because he holds the ball up and the players are playing a higher line, so they're able to engage in the game more. I did feel in that first half sometimes he's forced to hold on to the ball more than he'd like to.
Yeah.
Because the team have to catch up to him, if you will. So sometimes it's not really his fault. I also think sometimes because he goes maybe a long period without seeing the ball, he gets a bit frustrated and tried to be greedy and tried to have the shot when maybe he could have passed it, held onto the ball a bit too long. But he's gonna keep doing what he's done all his career and what we expect of him. He's gonna hold the ball up. He's gonna piss their back line off. He's gonna get us a set piece. He'll score 10 goals coming the end of the season. But for me, this performance was a 6.
Wow. You know how often we've agreed today? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a sixth time we've agreed. Because I'm going to give him a 6 as well. Kevin, hi, how you doing? He said, who leaves tomorrow? Take your pick. Pick a straw, see who's got the short one. Yes, I'm going to give... It's not going to be skipped. You know that. I agreed with you. I've given him a 6. Prashant's agreed with us. He got a 6. He got a 5 off Jordan Ayew. No, he didn't. He got a 5 off Jordan Blackwell. Too many Jordans spoil the pot. Right, we're going to get onto the subs now. Look, that's what it says there. So we'll quickly run through this. Daka. The enigma that is Daka.
Mm-hmm.
What's that saying? It's an enigma wrapped up in a puzzle that's, I can't think what it is. But he adds something when he comes on. He adds that threat, and he does. I think you said, I don't know if it was you or not. When we are conceding a corner and we're about to defend it, why have we got all the players back? If we had Daka on that halfway line and the opposition team will know he's got speed, they've probably got to keep at least one, if not 2 players back to mark him.
Yeah, that's what I said about him last season. Yeah, I did. You keep him up front.
Not saying he's always going to score, but it means 2 less players in our box.
Yeah.
He just didn't set the world alight for me. If I've given Page and Monger a 5, he's got to get a 4, I'm afraid.
I'm going to give him a 5 because I don't think he did anything wrong. I just think, and I'm praying here for Last Chance Saloon, literally, and for Cifuentes, who's showing a keen eye at seeing these things, that he sees that in Dakar, because otherwise we've got one of the fastest central defensive midfielders on the planet, because he makes more tackles than he does chances in the final third, Chris, and that's what worries me. And like you said, Chris, I don't know why it's seemingly gone out of football, but why isn't he stood literally in front of the halfway line going, I'm not offside. I can't be offside here. So you watch, if Stelarci gets the ball and launches it over halfway, I'm running onto it. Yeah. I just don't know why we're not catering to that. But yeah, I give him a 5.
He actually had 1 clearance and no shots.
That's the aim in the West, I'll tell you.
Yeah. Anyway, Jordan, he gave him he agreed with me, a 4. Now, why this guy isn't starting? Oh, well, we know why he's not starting, don't we? We don't want him injured. We want to try and sell him and get 90 grand a week off the books, which would be a massive. And I don't know if I've told you this before, I've quoted it a few times, out of the 10 most expensive players in terms of wages in the Championship, we have 6 of those 10. And we also have the number 1 on 90 grand. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the player on the highest wage in the Championship 2025-26, Mr. Harold Winks.
Yeah, I also think that could be the stopping point behind him leaving us this season, is his 90 grand a week wage, which is frustrating. I can see this, Chris, being a player who goes on a free next season.
He needs that for his petrol.
Oh, of course he does, yeah. But at least Martin lets him stay with his family. Look, I will say this, after all the stick and the rant I gave him after his actions and his antics after the Preston game and his attitude warming up to that game, he at least looked a bit more energised and a lot more focused on his job in hand. The game. He offered a bit more. He allowed us to turn Samara into that number 8 and go forward. I'm going to give him a 6 because there was noted moments where you go, yeah, that's why we need him on the pitch.
Yes, indeed.
We'll see.
Yeah, and Prashant hasn't gone yet. He went 5 with Daka, by the way. I've got to agree with you, 6. If we were doing halves, I'd have probably given him 6.5, but we're not, so I can't. I just think he did make a difference when he came on. The difference between him and Skip is like light and dark, to be honest with you. And Prashant's made it a full house of 6, which is exactly what Jordan gave him as well. I have to get this one right. There we go. Mr. Stilco Thomas, who isn't even on the Leicester City website. So I've had to I'm trying to quickly put this together whilst we were talking earlier, because I hadn't got one for him. I'm going to say he got a 6 off Jordan. City on the back foot for most of Thomas's debut, but he did still have a few nice dribbles down the flank. I don't know whether a 6 is fair. I'm going to go 5.
Well, I'm going to go 5 as well. Didn't do anything wrong. Didn't light the house on fire.
No.
First appearance, fairly steady. I think it was probably the way we'd have probably liked to have put Lewis Page into the mix. The players were a bit jaded, a bit jagged. He had something to go at.
Yes.
Oh, I'll tell you what, Chris, I've just checked the Liverpool-Newcastle game. What a game that was. And great effort by Newcastle, despite losing it in the 100th minute to apparently a 16-year-old.
Wow. Who knew these 16-year-olds could do this sort of thing?
I know, right? It's almost like we have one ourselves that scores goals and breaks records.
Yes. I've got to say, and Prashant's gone 5 as well. I've got to say that I gave 5 to Monga, so I'm going to have to give 5 to Thomas because I didn't notice any difference, to be honest with you. You know. Right, and then getting this right again, Ricardo. He got a 6 from Jordan. I'm probably going to agree with that because he did again have a bit of an impact, didn't he? And he made some good runs forward.
Yeah, he did all right. He showed his energy. We now know why it was Chowdhury on the right and Ricardo coming back. Still coming up for his injury. It is pivotal that he has the same sort of season he had the last time he was in the Championship. And mainly in the fact that he stays fit. Look, I cannot give him more than a 6 because he was only on for 7, 8, not 9 minutes including the intro.
Yeah.
But he did have a heck of a game. He did play quite well for when he came on. Just didn't go in. Let's hope he doesn't bite us on the ass. But Chowdhury playing there, I'd be happy with. But it was good to see back, Chris. And if there's players we need to be keeping that have got that experience, him and Vestergaard, and obviously, even though we think he's going Winks, of the 3 players you would put on that list, experienced players that are going to help the youngsters and breed confidence into that team, knowing that we know what they can do, sort of thing.
No, I agree. Sorry, I just had to go off camera a second. I hope. Look, if we get an offer for him, I think we take a chance and sell him, and it's a decent offer. But if he can stay fit, then let's. Hopefully he'll have a really good season. Oops,
It's himself.
I'm back. I'm doing this because this might be the last time I get a chance to wear this before he goes. So I'm going to have to get my money's worth out of this from Amazon. Faze, he got a 5 off Jordan. I don't think he did anything particularly wrong or brilliant. He wasn't on long, was he, again? What point did he come on? What time did he come on?
80 odd minutes.
3. I'm going to say I've got to give him a 4, and that's not because he had a bad game. He shored up the defence, but he wasn't really on long enough to do anything, was he?
No, he wasn't. That's probably why I gave him a 3. I give him a 5 to us. It's 3 because I saw his number. I give him a 5. And I say this now. Prashant is probably the only one talking, so this isn't fair. But I think you should run a poll for this. I don't mean a Polish person. I mean a voting system, if you will, Chris. If when FaZe leaves, I reckon you should do at least a 20-minute in memory of FaZe RIP wig video dedicating your fondest memories of FaZe whilst wearing the wig for one last time before he departs.
I could not wear this for 20 straight minutes.
10 minutes. Go on, 10 minutes.
It's bloody hot and sweaty and itchy.
And that's just why you get some looking at FaZe.
Yeah, exactly. Prashant's gone. FaZe a 6. Wow, okay. But the wig 10. The wig is the winner. The wig is the man of the match.
There you go.
Say. And finally, we are on to the Manaker. Now, Martin Cifuentes, the boss, as it says there. When you look, I'm going to have to take this off. That's how long I can keep it on, guys. It's bloody itchy.
Maybe cut it down to a YouTube short that you do then, Chris.
Yeah, that I'll do that. I'm glad I didn't buy the matching set, I'll tell you, because I really would be itching. Oh, God, it's awful to comb down there. Marty Cifuentes is making the best that he can do in the situation that he was in. I think it was Kevin earlier said, who's going tomorrow? And he like I said, and I said earlier, didn't I? Oh, it's Tuesday. Like, check. It's almost like he has to do an assembly in the morning, Right. Salarchik here. Chowdhury here. Nikoli here. Justin. Well, he's gone then. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit like that. So, and what he's doing, yes, it wasn't the best performance, but once we got that goal, the game management that he showed was excellent. I did not question any of the subs. It was the first game as well that he never made us half-time substitute.
Yeah, I think what we've got to remember is Cifuentes is almost playing catch-up because he wants to, clearly, and feels the need to see as many of his players that he's got here, whilst they're here, apparently, because like you said, he'll read out the registers tomorrow, and there'll be enough one that's at the airport missing their registration. But he needs to still be seeing it. He got 3 weeks, one game, essentially, of pre-season, where managers in other positions, because, they got to see 8 weeks of it, They got to see 4, 5, maybe even 6 pre-season games. He didn't get that luxury. And he's got to try and figure out if so-and-so does go, before the next game, who's going to step up and take his place. Hence why Page played instead of Bilal. Maybe why he's picking Nikoli over FaZe, because, FaZe is a hot prospect for Besiktas, it seems. I think he's doing a fantastic job, and I think his credit's going a little bit unspoken about by other people. And I get it, why would they speak about Leicester City if they're not Leicester fans? But I feel like podcasts that maybe focus on just the championship in general, I just kind of not really noticed it, because the expectation of Leicester is here. The expectation is they should be thumping Preston 3-0. We should have thumped Sheffield 5-0. We should have battered Charlton 3-0. But we seemingly struggled, and in a degree, we did struggle to break them down and get goals past them. Given the circumstances, Chris, I think he did a brilliant job, and I think he managed the game to perfection almost against Charlton. And I know, don't take your chances, and I want to save, stop it being 1-0 Charlton at half-time or whatever. But he makes the changes and he changes it up and he seems to get it right. And I'm going to give him an 8, Chris. I think he managed the game really well.
Now, obviously, Jordan doesn't rate the manager. Prashant does, though, and he's given him an 8. He's agreed with you. So I'm going to put that down as Jordan's there, Prashant. You can have that one. Look, this is the fourth league. No, it's the third league game, right? We've had one cup game. That's 4 games. And we had one game against Fiorentina. And we all know, we joke that, we beat them and Forest couldn't and Man United couldn't. It wasn't their strongest side. 5 games, like you said, that is most managers pre-season.
Yeah.
And what he's having to deal with, do you remember years ago we had Mickey Adams and he was having to deal with the fallout from La Manga?
Yes.
With all the sex scandals and what have you. And sometimes a manager's worth his weight in gold. And I've got to say here, look, I'm going to give credit to Claude Puel because he handled the passing of Vichai with such serenity and such, again, and as an owner just passed on today, and we wish him best. I think is it Colchester? I'm not sure, but there's an owner that's passed today. So got to give credit to Claude Puel for that. But this guy, what he's doing, 5 games in charge, not knowing who he's going to be picking, comes in. Yes, it was a wonder goal. It was a wonder, like you said, a wonder save that kept us in it, and a wonder goal that won it. But then you look at his substitutions, and he's going, hang on a second, we were on top for a while after the goal. Now they're getting back into the game. I need to change things round. I know, and he went 3 at the back, 5 in midfield, and made the right changes. I'm actually going to give him a 9.
As you would say, Chris, 8 and 9, same thing. I can't agree.
Yeah.
I can't disagree.
And I was very, very close to giving him a 10, but maybe if we'd scored the goal, we were more in the game, sort of thing. Very just to quickly end, the team rating, this comes from Alan, who was at the match, and he gave the team a 7, which is what I gave them, to be honest with you. And I know Tom was questioning why I gave him a 7. You don't win a game unless you defend well. And I know their shooting was way off target, but we still had to defend. And I think we defended well. Bodies were on the line. I know Daedalus didn't agree, but when Chowdhury and when Akoli were making blocks, they were, yes, come on, because they were doing it. 7, would you give a 7 or would you go higher or lower? You don't get anything for a pair. Not in this game, you don't.
No, I don't get anything anyway, so it's all right. You don't pay me anything, so it's not. No, you know what, Chris? Jim actually messaged me after the game, asking what I thought of the team performance and man of the match. I can't actually remember who I said as the man of the match to him at that point. It might have been Jakob, but I actually originally gave the team a 6. But looking back in it and taking everything into account, and especially going over what we've discussed today and the points that we've raised today, a sturdy Charlton side hadn't conceded a goal from inside, the area, hadn't conceded a goal, I think, in their opening 2 games in the Championship. Only had 2 shots on target from inside the box until they played us. Again, I think Fatu was just inside. I don't know. Maybe it was just outside. I don't know. But if it was the third and the first one to go in. They hadn't lost at home since December. You take all that into account, and again, with how difficult they were to break down throughout the 90 minutes, I am going to up it, and I am going to make it a 7 because I actually think, sometimes you've got to win dirty and ugly. And I don't mean dirty as in fouling. I mean, you've got to, got to roll your sleeves up, putting dirt.
3 points is 3 points, as they say.
That's exactly
and
I'd rather win ugly than come off that pitch feeling like the better player but lose the game.
Yeah. And man of the match, you're giving them a 6, Prashant. Man of the match, look, I went Akoli, you went Samari, and that's 7, and I'm man of the match official here. comes from Alan, who goes to every game, home and away, sees it really different.
My man of the match was Jakob.
Yeah, that's what I said. Solarczyk.
Samare.
No, I didn't. I said Solarczyk.
So you said Samare.
Well, probably you were.
Probably because of my love fest with him.
Yeah, you got your tongue up his arse so far. That's probably why. But Alan, who went to the match and picked it, went for this gentleman.
Again, good contender. I actually thought this was who you was going to pick, Chris, because he was up there with my choice. Good pick, Alan. Well done.
I can't argue. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those where I'm not going to go, what the hell? Chow, you know what I mean? So, yes, I agree. He was up there indeed. And finally, I've loved doing this show. Thank you very much, Brad. But let's just have a look at this, shall we? If I can get this up. There we go. The table, because I forgot to print it off.
Is that in hieroglyphics? Because I can't see it, Captain.
No, it is very small, unfortunately. I will talk you. I will just go through it for you. Let me just get this up. Get table up here. So we are sat in 7th, which is probably where I predicted we'll finish. Played 3, won 2, lost 1, scored 4, conceded 3, 6 points. Birmingham will play on Saturday or one place on Friday night or 2 places above us in 5th. Stoke out in top. Maybe this is their season, Brad. We've always called them the Championship team, haven't we? There'll never be anything else. Middlesbrough 2nd, then Coventry, West Brom, Birmingham, Preston, Leicester, and we're just above Millwall, Bristol, and Southampton. And interestingly, Ipswich are down in 18th at the moment. Played 3, drawn 2, lost 1.
Funny enough, I think I was initially going to have them in my bottom 3 predictions. A team that struggled did Luton, but I think I changed them to Southampton in the end. I'm getting that wrong, but Sheffield United, everybody's favourites.
Yes,
the wrong way around, don't they?
I think the table is upside down. All I will say on that is, come in, Chris Wilder. Your numbers time is up. I mean,
Sheffield Wednesday fans, if you'd have told them with all the turmoil that's going on after game week 3, they'd be ahead of their rivals.
Yes, yeah. Only by 1 point, but technically that's all that matters. Sheffield United, you sacked Chris Wilder, and I don't get why you did that. You got to the playoffs. All right, you were top 2 for a long time, but you're regretting it now, I think. And I say I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't do your dad and make a comeback.
Yeah, it looks like they are regretting it, doesn't it? Because they are not enjoying life at the moment.
Scored 1, conceded 5, and I have to say. And there was a new, I can't remember who it was, somebody put up there, Leicester laughing all the way to the bank, getting £10 million for Tom Cannon.
Wow, yeah. Somebody put a post out with pictures of 4 players. I think it was Samani, Cannon, Koulibaly and someone else. And saying, whatever happened to these players? What happened? Kind of trying to insinuate it was like a, what was his name? Kramaric situation with them.
Yeah.
I ended up saying, don't know what's happened to Koulibaly. Slimani was signed purely for his Champions League pedigree and nothing else. I don't think he was ever seen as a first-team player by Ranieri, if I'm being honest. That's my own personal opinion. And I said, Tom Cannon's flopping in the Championship with Sheffield United. So we haven't missed out on any of them. The only mystery there is, it is and still is, Koulibaly.
Yeah. And I think the funny thing is, we're all screaming for Thomas, weren't we? To be given a chance, Maybe those 4 football managers that didn't pick him at Leicester actually do know more than us, Brad. Just a thought. Brad, thank you very much, sir. It has been a pleasure. I do love these shows. It's been a long one, but we've covered every topic and done it well. Really appreciate it, mate. And if you're in the chat, please like it. And I've got to say thank you, Prashant, who's given us some very nice words there. As long as we've not sent you to sleep. Subscribe if you're new. click the notification bell, because we're going to be all over the place this week leading up to the transfer window. And do the same if you're watching on Catch Up. Thank you very much indeed. I will see you soon, or tomorrow at 7, in fact. Brad, it's goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from him.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.